Hello. Before starting today's story, I want to send you a word of thanks for choosing to stop, even for just a few minutes, amidst the chaos of this life. Maybe you just happened to pass by, or maybe you're carrying something in your heart that you can't name yet. Whatever the reason, I believe your presence here is a very valuable thing. The story you're about to hear is not a lesson, much less an instruction. It's like a moment of silence where you can slow down your breathing, listen to yourself, and perhaps realize that you're much brighter than you thought. So if you are ready, I invite you to join me on this small journey, the journey back to me yourself. I don't know how you got here, maybe a chance click, an unexpected suggestion, or an urge that's hard to name. But whatever it is, I believe nothing is random. If you ever feel like you're not good enough, if you've ever wondered if anyone can really see you, if you have ever withdrawn into yourself, even though in your heart you still long to live truly, then today's story is for you. I didn't come to preach, nor did I come to show the way. I just want to sit with you for a moment, as a companion, and tell you something you may have forgotten. You are much brighter than you think. If you're watching this video, it's probably not a coincidence. Maybe at a certain moment in your life, you have felt small. That no matter how hard you try, you are not enough. Not good enough, not strong enough, not outstanding enough, not enough to be loved or recognized. And you know what? A lot of people feel the same way. You're not alone in this journey, but there is a truth that you may have forgotten or have never been reminded by anyone. You are much brighter than you think. I know when you hear this sentence, part of you may be doubting. Brilliant? Me? You might be smiling slightly and shaking your head, but let me tell you this. I once met a woman, about 40 years old, working as a cashier in a small supermarket. Every day she sits from morning to night, counting every coin, smiling at every customer, no matter how tired or stressed. She once told me, "I feel like I'm nothing special, just like a shadow in the crowd." But did you know? There was a young girl who lived near that supermarket. Every time her mother scolded her, she would run there and watch her smile. Because to the little girl, her smile is the softest sunlight of the day. Do you see? Brilliance is not about standing on stage and having thousands of people clapping. Sometimes, your brilliance lies in the way you live, the way you listen to others, the way you present with your true heart. Yet, many of us have been taught to doubt ourselves. Since childhood, we hear sentences like, "Don't dream, just work like everyone else, don't show off too much." Gradually, you believe that shining is something that shouldn't be, that you should just be quiet, just enough, not bother anyone. But I want to ask you something. If your light can warm others, why hide it? Perhaps you have old scratches and wounds inside you, where someone once made you feel inferior. Maybe a teacher once criticized you for not being smart enough. A loved one once made you feel invisible. A lover once made you believe that you weren't worthy of kindness. Those words, even though they have passed, still cling to you like a shadow. And every time you want to step into the light, you hear the whispers in your head. Don't. I'm not enough. What if people laugh? But you know what? Those voices are not the truth. They are just echoes of the past. And the truth is, you have a very unique light that this world needs. Think back to the last time you truly felt alive. Maybe when you cared for someone with all your tenderness, when you wrote a poem, when you danced to a song even though no one was watching, when you did something not for anyone else, but just because it warmed your heart. That's when your light comes on. And you don't need to do anything big to be called brilliant. You just need to live true to your being. When you are authentic, kind when others don't expect it, strong when life is challenging, soft when the world becomes rigid, you naturally shine. If you still don't believe it, try this. At the end of each day, write down 3 things you did that make you proud, no matter how small. It could be, today I listened to a friend without judgment. I got out of bed even though I didn't want to. Or simply, I didn't give up. Those little things, repeated every day, are the little stars that contribute to creating your bright sky. And if someone ever makes you feel like you're not enough, understand that? That says nothing about your true worth. It's just a reflection of the fear they carry within themselves. Because sometimes, people will try to extinguish your light just because they are afraid to look at the forgotten light within themselves. You were not born to live like a shadow. You were born to be yourself, full, complete, and radiant. I know sometimes this journey will make you tired. There will be days when you doubt, feel discouraged, and want to go back to your old shell. But please remember, the light doesn't have to be bright. It just takes real. And if you keep taking step by step, living each day truthfully, you will realize a miracle. You have always been enough from the beginning. So, from today, don't ask, am I good enough? Ask, am I living true to my light? Because you don't have to be someone else to be worthy. You just need to become yourself. And the world will begin to change from that light. I know, when you hear someone say that you are brilliant, maybe inside you are still resisting. Because you once tried to step into the light, but then were pulled back into the darkness. It could be with a word, a look, or even just the silence of those you long for recognition. And so, you take it back. You hide that light. You say to yourself, okay, maybe I should be quiet. I should just be reasonable. I should do the same as everyone else. I understand that feeling. The feeling of someone who once believed there was something special about themselves. Then someone else made them doubt it. The feeling of being suffocated, not by real chains, but by prejudices, expectations, and invisible fears from people around. Have you ever heard someone say that? That, don't be delusional. That's not realistic. There's no way that could happen to someone like you. It's not just words. It was a message that cut through the dream. It's like an invisible hand pressing your head down every time you come up to the surface to breathe. What's worse is when it comes from the people you trust the most, relatives, teachers, friends. It's not because they hate you, but because they also had someone suffocate their own light, and now they unconsciously repeat it to you. But do you know what's beautiful? It is a light that, no matter how many years it has been covered, has never disappeared. It only needs a small gap, a moment when you believe in yourself a little more to start shining again. Maybe you don't realize it, but the signs have already begun. Maybe you've recently found yourself more sensitive to something. A piece of music makes you cry. A breeze moves you. That's not weakness. That's a sign you're awaken. You begin to feel that this life cannot be just about food, clothes, rice, money. You long for something deeper, a connection, one meaning, a call from within. And that proves that the light in you is still there, and it is waiting for you to return. I want to share with you a little story. A boy who, as a child, was always called weird. He likes to sit for hours looking at paintings, listening to the sound of the wind, and writing lines of poetry that no one understands. His family said he lives in the clouds. The teacher said he was impractical. So he folded the poetry pages and hid them in a drawer where they slept for 10 years. Until one day, when life was too stressful, he opened that drawer and reread the old words. He cried, not out of regret, but out of realization. He used to have a very beautiful light, and out of fear of being judged, he denied himself. From that day, he started writing again, not to be famous, not to prove to anyone, but simply to live as myself. Do you see your image somewhere in that story? I believe there is. Because we all have hidden a true part of ourselves just because someone once said it was inappropriate. But if everyone lives comfortably and tries not to be different, how can this world have miracles? We don't need more copies. We need friend, just as you are, with your emotions, your dreams, your ability to feel deeply, and even the hurts you once carried. Because true light does not come from perfection. It comes from sincerity. I want you to try doing something small, very small. Take 10 minutes every day, sit still and ask yourself, what am I holding back inside of me? Maybe an old dream, a hobby I once abandoned, an ability that you consider useless. Write it down, not for anything, just to acknowledge its existence. Because sometimes what we need most is not brilliant success, but the feeling of living true to yourself. Don't pretend, don't cower, don't ask anyone's permission. You don't need to wait until someone acknowledges you. You don't need to have enough qualifications or achieve something epic to shine. Your light doesn't need to be turned on with a grand ceremony. It just requires you to dare to step out of your shell and say, I will live my life for real, whether anyone sees it or not. And then the miracle will happen. You will start meeting people who see you, not the outer shell, but the light you thought was extinguished. You will feel the connection, not from loud compliments, but from quiet, understanding glances. You will feel lighter, as if you can finally breathe after years of holding it in. And the most important thing is, I don't feel like I'm wrong anymore. You don't have to fit. You don't have to be like anyone else. This world doesn't need a corrected you. It needs raw, real, original version you're. Because in that very truth, there is a light that only you can carry. And now, it's your time to step out. Thank you for still staying. If you're listening this far, it means part of you wants to return to yourself, not the person life has molded you into, but the original person you once were, before you forgot it. And that's it, awaken. It's not about you becoming someone new. It's about you remember who you were. Awakening does not come with a thunderclap. It is not always a shocking event, or one day you suddenly become completely lucid. Are not. It's much gentler than that. Sometimes, it's a morning when you wake up and suddenly feel like you don't want to live by inertia anymore. It's when you're washing dishes and realize you're living without really being alive. It's that moment when you walk through a crowd but feel completely out of place, and instead of brushing it off, you start asking yourself, why do I feel this way? Awakening is when you no longer want to live to please others. It's when you start to question things you've always thought were right. It's when you're no longer attracted to flashy things, but you start to see the value in peace, in genuine connections, in being yourself, even though it may make you different. And then you realize, I used to be a child who believed in miracles. I used to be someone who wrote down my very personal thoughts, but didn't dare share them with anyone. Once someone who could see beauty in the simplest things. Used to be a person with strong intuition and natural compassion, until he was told to toughen up. You were once that person, and you still that person. It's just that there have been too many layers of definitions, layers of expectations piled on you. And in the process of living, you forget who you were. But the wonderful thing is, the soul never loses its way. It can be forgotten, ignored, but it never leaves you. It still silently sends you signals. Those times when you just don't feel right even though everything seems fine. Those times when you're drawn to something you can't explain, a book, a song, a saying. That's it calling from within, reminds you, come back. This process sometimes makes you feel lost, even conflicted, because you are leaving the old ego, the ego created to please others, to live accordingly, to breathe easily in a society that places more emphasis on roles than on truth. You may feel different, no longer compatible with some old relationships, or no longer want to do things that once interested you. Don't panic. That's a sign you are let go of what no longer belongs to you, to make room for a more authentic version to be born. And remember, awakening doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need to know who you are right from the start. There's no need to have all the answers. Your work begins ask questions. Started wanting to understand myself better, love myself more, live more honestly. That was a big step forward. At times, this process can be lonely, because when you start living authentically, you will find yourself no longer fitting into the things that used to fit. But that loneliness doesn't last forever. It's just a moment of silence. The universe realigns frequencies around you, bringing new people, new opportunities, and even new experiences closer to you. I remember a young person once texted me, "I used to think I was broken. I didn't like the things my friends liked. I cared about deep things that others considered overdoing. I often felt things more strongly than normal people. There were times when I felt like I wasn't okay at all. But now I realize maybe I'm not wrong, I'm just different. And different doesn't mean broken." I cried when I read those lines. Because that is the moment of awakening, is when you stop trying to fix yourself and start appreciate your own uniqueness. And I want you to understand this. No one can give you permission to awaken. No one can give you the role to be yourself. You don't need anyone to nod to start returning. You just have to listen and believe. Believe that within you there is a pure, powerful, creative, inspired being. And it is calling you back. And from that moment, you will find yourself no longer running after the metrics out there. No more looking for recognition from other people's eyes. No longer need to live to please anyone. You start living. Simply, for you, I want to live true to myself. When you remember who you are, you will begin to see the world differently. You no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstances. You see yourself as a co-creator of life. You no longer require others to understand you to feel safe. Because true security comes from knowing yourself. And from there, everything started to change. You start choosing what is right for your soul instead of what should be. You begin to love without control. You start saying no to things that are no longer true for you without feeling guilty. You begin to live with a new freedom, not loudly, but deeply. No need to show off, but full of power. That is the gift of awakening. Freedom to be yourself. And if you're at the beginning of this journey, know this: you're on the right track. Not fast, not slow. Just be honest with your feelings, you won't get lost. Be gentle with yourself. Forgive the times you forget your light. Embrace the past, not to live in it, but to understand how far you've come. And remember, awakening is not the destination. It is the process of living every day with honesty, awareness, and self-love. And when you begin to remember who you are, when the old layers are gradually peeled away, there comes an important moment. You are faced with a choice: continue to retreat or step out and be yourself. That moment may not be as brilliant as in the movie. It has no fireworks or sparkles. It can be as simple as when you choose to speak your truth, even though others may disagree. It's when you dare to refuse something that makes you tired, even though you're afraid of being misunderstood. It's when you choose to live true to your values, even if that means walking a certain path alone. It was a small moment, but carries great transformational power. Because every time you choose to be yourself, you are opening up a new space, not only for yourself, but for those around you. You become a reminder that we don't have to be the same to be loved. We just have to be real. Do you know what is sorely lacking in this world? It's not about being better, more successful, or more perfect. It's the people dare to live more truly, dare to admit, I'm not okay today. Dare to say, I feel hurt. Dare to laugh loudly, cry loudly. Dare to express your emotions sincerely. Dare to live with kindness despite many doubts around you. The world is tired of masks, longing for truth, and you, just being you, are a rare gift. I know, this is not always easy. Maybe you've tried being real and been judged. Maybe you've trusted someone with all your heart, only to get hurt in return. And so you learn to protect yourself by cowering. You say to yourself, okay, stop being different. Don't stand out. Don't be so sincere. But my friend, you were not born to hide in the dark forever. You were born to bring your own light into this world. And that light is not something you have to create. It's already inside you. It's the tenderness you give to others when they're sad. It's a sensitivity that makes you see things others miss. It's the imagination that makes you dream of a better world. It is the desire to heal, to connect, to live deeply, not just exist. Maybe other people don't always understand you, but don't use that incomprehension as a measure of your worth. People don't need to understand you for you to be allowed to exist as yourself. You don't need any permission. As long as you dare to stand in your truth, you will inspire others to do the same. You become a living example of gentle courage, the kind of courage that doesn't require noise, but is strong enough to pave the way for an entire generation to live more authentically. I once met someone. She was not famous, nor rich or powerful, but every time she appears, people feel they can be themselves. She didn't try to convince anyone. She didn't try to impress. She was just present, complete, honest, and empathetic. And that is what makes her shine gently but deeply. That's the power of work. Be yourself. And you have that power too, whether you believe it now or not. I want you to remember one thing. You don't need to fix yourself to fit in. This world doesn't need more fake perfect people. The world needs it real hearts, souls who dare to live, dare to love, dare to dream, even when it might get hurt. So, if today you feel different, don't hide it. If you have dreams that no one understands, don't give up. If you feel like the world is too noisy, listen to yourself first. Change doesn't come from those who shout the loudest. It comes from the most real people. From small choices every day, choosing to be kind, choosing to be honest, choosing not to rush just to keep up with someone. And when you live like that, you're helping to heal this world, one person at a time, one moment at a time. Don't take it lightly, because if just one person, you, dares to step out and be yourself, then the next person will also be brave enough to do it, and then the next person. And gradually, we will build a world where everyone can live as they are, without permission, without disguise. That world is not too far away. It begins the moment you choose to be yourself. You have come to the end of this journey with me. And if you're still here, I want to tell you something very important. Thank you for being brave. Even though you're still doubting, still afraid, still struggling, you're still here. And that alone proves that the light within you is always smoldering. Please keep it. Raise it up with patience, with love for yourself, because you are the light that this world is waiting to light. Thank you for taking the time to stay here. I don't know where you are on your journey, starting, unsteady, or have gone quite a distance. But I know one thing for sure. You are not alone. In this world, there are still awakening hearts like yours, silent, resilient, and sincere. And if today you feel like you're not enough, know that. It is your honesty, your sensitivity, and even the times you fall and get up that are proof of the light you carry within you. You don't need to become someone else. You just need be yourself, and the world will thank you for it. If this story touches you, keep it close to your heart. And when you're ready, bring that light further. To those who also need a reminder, they deserve to live a real life, and they are not alone. See you again in the next journeys. And don't forget, the world is waiting for you to step out and shine.